Fat Dag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, Fat Dag.
Cheers. I am your host, Fat Dag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 251. We're recording the show live just before the Super game today. I guess Super Bowl is on today, so we're going to get that in. If you saw the post I put on Facebook just a second ago, it may still be out there, but we're cutting up pineapple, we're cutting up strawberries, we're cutting up cantaloupe. We're going into this game all in, hoping the game is a good game, but it's a good time to hang out with friends. So thank you for being here. Thanks for digging in, getting some motivation, and getting your willpower right on check before the game. So all of you joining us live, kudos to you for making yourself a priority. This first email is exactly that. It's making yourself a priority, and I want to kind of dig into it. It comes in from Cheryl. Cheryl says, "Hi, Fat Dag. I want to start with thanking you. Thank you for your service to our country, the wingman community, wise advice, and the time on the porch at Cracker Barrel. I'm looking forward to June 28th, the Indy Ultimate, and meeting some more wingmen. I felt like it was time to send an email and kind of touch base. I had reached my 50-pound milestone in October, right before taking a trip with my sister. Well, it was supposed to be a fun getaway for us. It started out good. Then she began asking questions about our childhood. It was a difficult conversation because of her misconceptions. I went backward in my journey. I found comfort from her words in food. The cycle gained momentum, and I lost focus. I recently decided to address the 5 questions again. Instead of all at once, I did it one day at a time, one at a day. My why had changed a little bit. My health, cute clothes, confidence, they were still whys, but I added that I wanted to show my son that an addictive cycle can be overcome. What is in my way? Emotional binges. I am actively working on this. I have discovered some limiting beliefs that are part of my core. I have a couple of emotions that drive those and lead me into a cycle. Fear and anger are the 2 strongest feelings that trigger me into a binge. I know where this comes from. I believe I can do this. Actually, I know I can. The hardest thing I've ever done is what has me typing out this email. The first thought that came to mind was something I did when I was 16 years old. I was watching the news with my mother, and they were reporting on abuse. I calmly told my mother if she ever hit me again, I would defend myself. She tried to provoke me into hitting her first. I was so scared. I told her I was serious. I don't do anything that justifies her hitting me. And if she ever hit me again, I would hit her back. She never hit me again. The next thought was when I was in my 20s. My son and I were getting ready for dinner, and my mother came through the front door yelling and cursing at me. I told her this is my home. She doesn't pay my rent or my bills. If she couldn't respect me, she wasn't welcome. She got louder, and I told her to leave. My dad was standing behind her. She turned around, yelled at him, and left. He told me he was proud of me, and I cried. Then there was the time my dad was in the hospital. He was having complications from his heart issues and diabetes. He said, "We need to talk." We had a clear the air kind of conversation. He made me promise not to let them keep him alive on machines. I made that promise not knowing that in 2 days, I would have to keep it. More recently, I had to remove my son from my home. He said some terrible things. He scared me. He blamed me. It hurt. But I stood my ground. He has been tangled up in this addiction for 8 years. I have released myself from all guilt associated to his lifestyle. He chooses to live this life no judgment. There is nothing about WW that can come close to how hard these things were or are for me. I have taken responsibility for so many things, and now it's time for me to recognize that I am the one who is going to make this happen. I am tired of feeling like I have no control over what goes in my mouth. I do, and it's all on me. My 3-year WW anniversary is February 15th, 2019 is the year that I will reach my goal. Cheryl out of Central Ohio. Cheryl, you know what I think of you and how inspiring you are and how awesome you are in that sense. And the evening that we spent on the porch in Cracker Barrel, I've said this before, and I'll say it publicly, was probably one of the best nights of my life. We just sat there rocking in a rocking chair at a closed Cracker Barrel till, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was on my drive home from Pennsylvania after the international tour there, and on a whim, I stopped to hang out with you and Marcia. And sitting there was time just completely froze, because sitting in your presence and understanding all that you'd gone through and hearing about it and knowing how inspiring you still were and how much you still were focused on getting this done led me to just want to sit there longer and longer and longer and be in your presence. So I agree. That was a great, fantastic evening. Thanks for that. And also looking forward to June 28th. I agree with that. But let's dig into this. This is what you wrote is some pretty deep stuff. It's some pretty important stuff. They all end the same way. They end with you understanding that you are in control. Not only do you understand it, you've proven it. You know that in order to make any change in your life, you have to be the one to do it. No one, no matter how much they love you, no matter how much they say they care for you, no one looks out for your best interest more than you will. This is an example of that. This entire journey of getting yourself healthy and fit is that example. I want you to find the success you're capable of. I want you to understand that what you have already gone through is extremely difficult. And now what I'm asking you to continue forward with, should be easier than that. You should be able to say, okay, I do have control over what I eat. Look at all the amazing, strong things I've done for me. And when you understand that you have the ability to take care of you, this is the next chapter in that life. The next way to take care of you, you've built the walls around you, you've made the defenses around you, you've taken control of your life. Now we need to do it in this realm as well. I believe you can do it. Clearly, you know you can. And I also thought it was very inspiring for you to write in your email that one of your whys is to prove to your son that you can break an addiction, that addictions can be broken. And so that's what you're working on here. And so as you continue to prove it to him, I hope that he's able to witness it and make the change for the better in his life as well. I know the pain that brings you. We talked about that, and I don't want to get into it here, but what I can tell you is that you do owe it to yourself to take care of yourself, to be the best version of yourself, so that other people, your son and everybody else, can just watch and see what putting yourself first looks and feels like. And then that is the inspiration that carries forward, and other people start taking care of themselves as well. And more importantly, it puts you in a scenario where you have the strength to be there for them should they need you. Now, I can't imagine the life-changing decision that you made as you kept your promise to your dad. You know, recently going through something similar here, I know the pain that's associated with that. My heart breaks for you. My heart goes out to you for that and all the tragedies that you have, but I want that not to be your story. I want your story to be a story of triumph, because every scenario you've written, you have succeeded in. I want you to end this chapter with success as well. Cheryl, thank you for everything that you've done. Thanks for being an active part in the Wise Wingman Facebook group. Truly, it's an honor to be in your presence, as I told you, and I agree with you. 2019 is the year that you're going to reach goal. Let's back up. 2019 is the year that the scale will tell you that you reach goal. I believe you're already there. I believe that mentally you know what you have. When you said you believe you can do it, that's goal. Now it's just a matter of going through the actions, putting the work in, and getting it done. Keep up the amazing work. Great to see you on Facebook joining us live as well. Very cool. Stephanie writes in the second email for this show. She says, "Hey, Fat Dag, I have written to you a few times and you've read my emails on the air. It's so exciting when you do. I've been with WW since November of 2016. I made Lifetime almost a year to the day in 2017. I've maintained my weight loss, well, mostly. I've been within 5 to 7 pounds of my goal weight ever since. Anyway, this morning I was listening to an episode and I had to laugh at myself, of course. While listening to this episode and listening to Kristen's story, I was brushing my teeth, and when she said she lost 21 pounds, I out loud said, 'Good for you.' Then I saw myself. I was looking at myself in the mirror, and it was like I was saying, 'Good for you' to myself. Then I giggled. 'Good for you, Stephanie. That's what I should be saying to myself. I've gone from 198.7 to 155 to 157 pounds. Good for me. Why is it so easy for me to tell and to feel for others how amazing they're doing, but I don't take the time to praise myself? I'm hard on myself as so many others are. Why is it so unnatural to pat myself on the back? I've recently made the promise to myself to tell myself that I love me. I look in the mirror and I make a deliberate effort to tell myself that I love myself. I am smart and strong and that I can do this. Maybe that's why I actually recognized it in myself when I was praising Kristen. Thank you, Kristen, for writing in so I recognize that I'm doing good too. Keep up your amazing journey, girl. You got this. Stephanie, awesome email. I love it. And so here's what's going on. In life, our society gets us to the point where we have to kind of be a little bit reserved. If you walk into a room and you say, "Hey, everybody, I'm the best person in this room," the whole room kind of looks at you. Now, I know it's true. You know it's true that when you walk in, you're the best person there. We know that. But we can't say it out loud because as soon as you do, somebody comes around to knock you off the pedestal. There's a whole culture of people that in order for them to get ahead of you, they feel like they've got to bring you down a notch in order for them to succeed. We know that's not the case. We know that we get strength by lifting other people up. And as we lift other people up, we rise as a community and we actually start to have that success. I've seen it on social media. When I make a post, and every once in a while I get someone that says, that certainly has the need to chime in with something strictly for the sake of just having their voice heard and to kind of knock me down a post. And so it does, and times it makes me a little more reserved on what I want to share, but what I've come to understand is exactly what you did. I've done good. I'm doing good. You've done good. You've done more than good. You've done fantastic. You've gotten to the point where you're happily living right at your goal, above goal, whatever works for you, but you understand that putting yourself first, loving yourself first, that is where all of this healing begins. That's powerful. And so one of the first things you can do for anyone listening on this journey, one of the first things you can do is recognize no matter where you are in this journey, that you're the best. You're the best version of you. You can then love yourself enough to want to make improvements. It's not the other way around. You don't make improvements hoping to love yourself. You love yourself the where you're at, how you're at, no matter what it is. You love yourself instantly. And you tell yourself that you're awesome. You tell yourself that you're doing fantastic. You tell the world that you're awesome. You tell the world that you're doing fantastic. And you love yourself. You start taking selfies because you're proud of who you are in that moment. Then, once you get there and you want to make improvements to that already wonderful self, then you can make improvements. That's how this journey becomes successful. So I want you to keep doing that. It reminds me so often, like when we go into a WW workshop, and we get on the scale and we, let's say we had a good week or we thought we had a good week and we hop on the scale and the scale does not confirm that week for us. The scale says, up 0.2 or up 0.4. And we go sit in our chair and we sulk, right? And we're disappointed and we're angry. And what we forget about is that we actually went to the meeting and we weighed in, which is success in itself. We actually forget that all week we are mindful and try to do our best, and we forget about that. And so we sit in our chair angry at ourselves for not doing well. And then the person sits down next to us and we talk to them, maybe we share, and what do they say? They look at you and they say, "Don't worry about it. You'll get it next week." But we say just the opposite. We sit there and go, I'm terrible. I can never do this again. And think about if you said that in reverse. Someone sits down to you in a workshop and they sit right next to you and they say, yeah, I'm up 0.2 this week. And you looked at them and said, man, you're awful at this. You are no good at this. You should probably quit doing this because it's clearly not working for you. Right? You would never say that to a stranger. So why do you give yourself permission to say it to yourself? Stephanie, you've understood that is where the change is going to happen. And what you've done is you recognized it. And by looking in the mirror, I can just picture that scenario. You're brushing your teeth and all of a sudden you said, good for you. And you look at yourself and you actually heard your own words, saw your own reflection, saw the hard work, dedication, and effort that you put into this entire journey. And you're absolutely right. You are doing good. You have done good. You continue to do good. So, Stephanie, thank you for writing in and reminding all of us that if we put ourselves first and we turn into loving ourselves and we make amends with ourselves and we understand that we're doing this for ourselves, everything else comes natural. Stephanie, keep up the great work. Thank you also for writing in. This third email comes in from Brianna. She says, "Hi, Mike. My name is Brianna, and I recently celebrated 1 year at Goal. I'm pretty thrilled with that accomplishment, so I told myself I would write to you once I had reached that milestone. I'm an online-only member, and I've lost more than 50 pounds. I'm hoping you won't mind if I take a minute to share my story. My journey began one evening like so many others. It was early January 2016. My husband and I were spending time with two dear friends. I was proceeding through the evening as I always had, eating and drinking much more than my share. At one point in the evening, I really noticed my friend. She looked great. She looked thinner. She wasn't stuffing her face like I was. At that moment, I put down the potato chips and I asked her what she was doing. She admitted that she'd been working out regularly at her gym and she'd joined WW. I'm still not sure what it was about that moment that sparked my interest, but it absolutely stuck with me. I went and joined my friend's gym shortly thereafter. Yeah, I joined the gym first. For some people, it takes learning the hard way. I'm living proof that it's just not possible to outrun a bad diet. I was working out regularly for the entire month of January 2016, but my weight didn't change much. I was proud of my exercise routine, but I knew that it was also time to do something about my diet. I joined WW February 18th, 2016, and I'm so glad that I did. After joining, I discovered Connect, and it was through Connect that I found your podcast. More than 50 pounds later, I'm at a place I never thought I would see. I just didn't think it was possible for me to get comfortable in my own skin. Honestly, the thought of it still brings tears to my eyes. In addition to losing the weight, these past 3 years have been filled with non-scale victories that I never dreamed were possible. I'm eternally grateful to my friend for mentioning WW, for Connect, which has continued to inspire me, and for your podcast that provides a ton of motivation. As I mentioned earlier, I'm online only, so your podcast is the closest thing I have to a workshop. So I've known that I wanted to write to you for a while, and when I thought about writing, I had a variety of things I could have written about. Lessons that I've learned along the way, non-scale victories, or encouragement to those still working to lose. Side note, it took me nearly 2 years to lose my weight. If we just stick with it, we'll get there. While all those are great subjects, I found the most pressing subject in my life at the moment is the future. Without weighing you down with too many details, recently my husband and I formally expressed intent to adopt 2 children, siblings from another country. We are currently waiting to be officially matched and hope to hear back soon. This has been a long and beautiful process lasting nearly 3 years. We have no biological children of our own, and it seems we are finally nearing the end of this monumental journey, realizing a dream come true for our family. We couldn't be more excited, giddy, nervous, etc. But what does all this have to do with WW? Well, it seems that some very big changes are about to take place in my life. And I've got concerns about how to take on these incredible changes and still maintain my weight loss. Even though I've been at this WW thing for a little while now, I know how easy it is to slip back into old habits. Any thoughts, suggestions, well wishes, or advice, parenting, staying on plan with kids, or otherwise from you or the community would be greatly appreciated. I am TRAVERB 37 on Connect, and I'm also part of the Wise Wingman community on Facebook. Thank you so much for all you do, and I sincerely hope to be part of the 2019 tour in Seattle. All the best, Brianna. Brianna, hopefully I'm saying it correctly. Doesn't matter in that sense because you're awesome either way. It's my fault for pronouncing it incorrectly. But let's talk about how awesome you are online only. I think that is very extremely difficult. Those who are able to dig through and get that, truly you're in a league of your own in that sense. You have a whole different level of accountability that you internally found a way to motivate yourself. So congrats to that. I'm glad that you have written that piece in. So many people, and I believe the meetings are key. The meetings are for me, they were. But so many people wonder if this can be done online only. You have proven it. Congratulations on doing that. 1 year at goal. It's got to feel great. Yeah, I bet you look great. I bet you feel great. And you can kind of see it in your letter. You have so many different exciting things that you want to share. You didn't know where to share it from. So keep up the amazing work there. Let's talk about this online only thing. Let's talk about you getting it done. Let's talk about the tools that you've used. I think one of the things that are instrumental in this journey is that given a program, given a set of guidelines, you have to go one step further, and that is find additional accountability tools. For some, it's the meeting. For some, it's Connect. For some, it's this podcast. For some, it's different podcast. So what happens is you find something every single day to motivate you. You find something every single day or often enough to remind you that you can do this. That's kind of how it works. When we set a goal, when we make a declaration that we want to do this, we believe it. We know it's time to do it and we want to do it. And what happens is somewhere along the journey, we get a little bit distracted. We forget that we wanted to do it. And so you have to find something to remind you, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a meeting, whether that's online in Connect. Something has to remind you, say, you know what, Brianna, you chose to make a change in your life. Oh, that's right, and I'm going to do it. You did that. So congratulations on all of that amazing success. It led you to goal a year later, and I believe that is what now gets you to the point where you want to completely change your life. That is the point that got you to join, if you think about it. You had a friend of yours who, as you sat there watching, you noticed her. That's the hashtag I always use, be the prize. You noticed that she was eating differently. You noticed that she was looking better, feeling healthier. That is what people are now noticing with you. And so now you have the opportunity and the obligation to share that, just as you've done in this email. And so other people now go, okay, well, if Brianna can do it, I can do it. And so that's kind of how this whole thing works. A lot of us don't believe this is possible. I didn't when I first started. When we first start this, we see this insurmountable goal. We say there's no way we can do it. And then all of a sudden we get on Connect. We see someone who lost 254 pounds. We go, okay, well, if they did it, I can do it. We see someone who's lost 30 pounds. We say, okay, if they did it through Christmas, then I can do it. So we see stories. And now once we know things are possible, we then get to develop a plan on how we want to make them possible for us. But the first thing is you have to know it's possible. And that's what your friend proved to you. Obviously, you were already slowly getting there in your own lane, right? And that's what allowed you to notice the changes that she had made and to notice the change in her. And then I love what you said. You tried to go out, run the diet, right? I joined the gym first. I think so many of us believe that is the way to do this. The gym, I tell you, the gym is a great tool. Exercising, great tool. Getting out in some extra activity, absolutely fantastic, fabulous. It's not a weight loss plan. It is a mindset plan. It is a fitness plan. It is a strength plan. It gets you mentally prepared plan. It doesn't take weight off by itself without eating properly to coincide with that. So it's the two go hand in hand. So many of us believe that we have to go to the gym to lose the weight, and we don't change our eating habits in the interim. Changing your eating habits for the long term is where the success really comes from. Then as you start to lose weight, the gym becomes way more fun. I think you'll agree with me on that. So kudos to her for sharing her journey. Kudos to you for sharing your journey. Now, where do we go from here? You have an obligation, as I said, to now share this journey with the world. And you're choosing to do that through your children. congratulations on that. And taking the step to adopt children, I can't even imagine. It's something that at one point in my life I considered very briefly, and then I didn't believe that I had the ability to do it. I'm proud of those who are able to, and I'm proud of you for stepping up and saying, we want to do this. I think and the fact that you're taking siblings, incredibly, incredibly honored to even have this conversation with you, because that shows me clearly where your heart is. So now you have these two wonderful children coming into your life. You have an obligation to teach them. You have an obligation to show them deliberately how to live their life. You have an obligation as a parent to make sure that they get everything they need. And one of the things as parents that we know is people watch us, our children watch us and emulate what we do in addition to what we say. So that's the game plan. You're going to adopt these two beautiful children. You're going to bring them into your life, and you're going to bring them into your wonderful family, a family that eats well, a family that goes to the gym, that works out, a family that is overall happy, healthy. And what better gift can you give them than that? You're absolutely right. Things will change in your life. Your entire life will get uprooted and get torn upside down. That doesn't change the fact that this obligation still exists for you to say, children, I'm welcome you into this home. I want to demonstrate good behavior. I want to demonstrate good lifestyle changes that you can make. There's a good chance that as they come into your home, they're going to have to start completely fresh. And so it'll be easy for them to adapt to your lifestyle. But if you give them the wrong lifestyle, it'll be very difficult for them to reintegrate into a third lifestyle in such a short period of time. So bring them into the right lifestyle on day one, integrate this into your life, and then do your best. That's all you can do. You can't do any more than your best at any given moment. No matter what life has given you, you wake up that morning, you say, today I'm going to do the best I can today. In this set of circumstances, I'm going to be the best version of me that I can. You can do that. Slipping into old habits is a common theme. I did it, I hear it, I understand it. What I can tell you about it is you can't live there. You've got to get to the point where the old habits are just that. They're old habits. They can peek in on occasion, but the healthy lifestyle that you built should be so overwhelmingly positive that the old habits can't survive. It's kind of like throwing a weed in a very well groomed front lawn. It's not going to be able to flourish. So you build this healthy lifestyle that's so wonderful, that's so amazing, with two beautiful children, and all of a sudden the bad habits that are kind of fun that sneak in, they don't survive this entire journey. What survives the journey is you being a healthy role model, living a healthy lifestyle for two amazing children that you've now decided that are going to be your responsibility. Congratulations on that. I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you for doing that. Stay plugged into the community in Facebook. Stay plugged into Connect. Stay plugged into the tools that got you as an online-only member to get it done. Were you on? Yeah, sorry. Thanks for digging into that. You weren't online. That's the other email. But thanks for digging into all the tools that made this work and keep learning them and using them along your way. Brianna, we will see you in Seattle. I'll get that tour date out pretty soon, and we will roll from there. And at that point, we will all together jump up and down and celebrate. We have a lot to celebrate. As a community, there's so much positive going on. We just got to look for it and find it. And when you find out what it is that you're celebrating, I want you to share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice Podcast link to send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. I want you to love yourself enough where you're proud of what you're doing. I want you to love yourself enough that you don't have any hesitation to share how awesome you are with the entire world. That's what this thing's all about. When you get to that point, I said it earlier in the show, when you get to the point where you matter, you put yourself first, and you love yourself unconditionally, it's at that point you can make the change. Waiting until you think that you're going to get to the point where you eventually will love yourself and change. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work backwards. Love yourself now, love yourself often, and then go make the change if you're not satisfied. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the Wise Advice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit fatdag.com, click on Become a Patron today.